All right, folks, we're back with another exciting episode. And a new match takes place. Morphy versus Mongredien. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name. Probably butchering it. Okay, match versus Augustus Mongredien. Let's just say Augustus, because I have a feeling I'm really butchering that, right? Good old AM, Augustus Mongredien. Okay, anyway, first match game, Paris, February 26, 1859. All right. Mongredien has, Augustus has the white pieces. He starts off with e4. I know, Shredder, you can't play right now. We're doing something, okay? So here we go. Morphy answers with e5. And it's the bishop opening. You know, we see this all the time. The knight's coming out first. All right. Well, here you go. The bishop comes out. Now, a little quick pointer is usually this is the best move. You know, the knight, you want to get that out. He's already in a good spot. Knight f3 attacking the enemy e-pawn, right? Putting, question to black already, putting pressure already. Well, usually this is the best, to develop the queen knight to defend, right? The bishop, meanwhile, you don't want to bring him there, because look, even now, like you challenge the center. If he takes here, you bust up the king side pawns. Very ugly. You're going to get this back, right? So you don't want to even bring the knight over there on the get-go. Forget about it. And if you bring him over here, he blocks the bishop, so it really doesn't make sense. You want to get your king side pieces out quickly in a king pawn game. The castle, right? Makes sense. So you don't want to block your bishop in right away. Right here, you go to f3, you attack the enemy e-pawn, put the question in him, he has to respond, and now you have time to move your bishop. Now, usually you don't know. Do you want to bring it here? Do you want to hit the knight? This is what we don't really know at this point. The bishop's a little harder to decide where we want to put him. The knight, we know right away. Boom, knight f3. That's where it wants to go in a king pawn game. Come on, dummy up. All right. So anyway, here we go. Though we got Mongredien playing bishop to c4. Bishop's opening. Morphy, get a load of this. He answers mirror, right? It's a mirror reflection, copycat. But here you go. Mongredien plays. He plays. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right. I'm really butchering them all. How about Mongredien? Mongredien. All right. Let's just stay with Augustus, right? I don't mean any disrespect, but okay. Here you got b4 being played by white, right? Okay. Gambit. So what does Morphy do? He takes it. Okay. And now get a load of this one. This one, you got f4 now. You got a gambit on both sides. He gives the b pawn. Now he's giving the f pawn. It even says here, it says, blah, 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 blah. Offering McDonald's double gambit. Mongredien was evidently something of a humorist to play thus against Morphy. And yes, folks, it actually is THUS, not THIS, to play this against Morphy. It's actually to play thus against Morphy, all right? We got to remember the old English. We got to go back. It's 1859, all right? So here we go. Look at this guy, right? He plays f4 now, cute. Well, look, Morphy has an answer. He plays d5, and now his pawn push is actually hitting the bishop. So Augustus has to figure out something. So what does he do? Well, obviously he takes the pawn. Okay. He takes, and now Morphy doesn't take here. He pushes up. He pushes up to e4. Now he's taking away, like we said, the best square for the knight, really. I mean, okay, now the pawn's not on e5, but it's more aggressive to be able to leap. One more leap and you're in enemy territory, You're putting pressure on the black king maybe, over here. Putting pressure on that king side from f3. One leap and you're in. But now he can't go there with the black pawn, so he has to go here. Not bad because the bishop is already out, so he's not blocking in his bishop. But not as aggressive. He's not as close as he'd like to be. Like when the knight's on f3. Okay, anyway. So now he goes knight to e2, and you got Morphy developing his king. Knight to f6, protecting e4 and putting pressure on the d pawn on d5, the white d pawn. All right, here we go. Now we got this move. All right, Shredder likes this. All right, whatever. Here you go. Here you go. You got c3 by Augustus. Now the thing is here, it says departing from McDonald's line, right? Is that where I am? Yep. Okay, departing from McDonald's line in a game with Labordanis. Yeah, that one goes way back, folks. Those guys, McDonald and Labordanis. It continued, those two characters, they continued with castles, okay? And then bringing, you know, let's just throw a move, then bringing the knight here, okay? Departing from McDonald's line in a game with Labordanis, white playing 7 castles, and then 8 queen knight to c3. Now I threw in the silly move f6 just so I could grab this knight and show you, conclude what they say, you know. Castles for white followed by knight to c3. But it doesn't give what black plays, okay, on his 7th move. You know, if you castle, okay, I mean, okay, Shredder's saying this, and then this guy comes here. But what's funny, all right, maybe that's a whole different game, okay? But what's funny, I think when I was going over this, after castles, there it is, knight takes d5, why not, right? You got the queen backing up the knight, so the bishop, you know, this doesn't do anything, right? I mean, okay, he gets a tempo on you, big deal. You back off, you got the bishop pair now, right? You're still protecting that d pawn if he goes after it. Look at this, you could even back it up perhaps. He gets the check. Does that really do anything? Well, he keeps you from castling. Okay. Keeps you from castling. You develop this guy. He comes in after your rook. Oh, look, bishop e6 to support this guy, and then he wins him. But that might not be bad because you're going to castle long, folks. And then you're gonna attack. There you go. You castle long. And you're ready to throw a rook on h8, you know. You throw a rook here, and you start attacking down the h-file, right? Well, anyway, okay, different game, but look at the evaluation, minus 2.8, more than 2.5, right? Black's doing pretty good there. Now, that's just one scenario out of many, right? I mean, if you give the bishop pair back, right? Now nobody has the bishop pair, and you just to protect that e4 pawn, you castle. You busted up white's queen side pawns over here, right? They're all busted up, isolated, double isolated pawns on the c file. Not good, right? Already doubles up on your. He doubles up on e4, but now look, now you play this. Now the queen's on d4. If you can't swing in and check the king and do anything over there, the black king castled by now, right? So you got a little plus, almost 1.5. Let's see, you got the busted queen side pawns, and you got an extra pawn. You got an extra pawn, and white has busted queen side pawns, double isolated c pawns. So yeah, you're let's see, are you a bit behind in development? Right? Not really. You still got the move. What does he do if you develop your bishop here, right? Goes after this guy, already develops. Pushes this. Alright, anyway, this is a whole other game, right? You gotta get your knight out and then you catch up. You're a little behind development, but alright. There you go, right? There's some ideas. But look at this though. We're talking about taking, and then if he trades, right? But now if he plays this, well, now you take, and if he takes back, you get the check right here, folks. The check. He moves and you win the bishop. See that? There's a tactic involved. You got to watch those checks. You just won the bishop. So now you're up a piece. All right, so he wins this. Does he really win it? You don't want to take because he'll pin you, see? And then you'll lose the queen. You don't want to do that. So you don't want to just, you won the bishop. You don't want to just put him right back in the game. He gets a pawn for it. But does he? No, you're actually up a pawn. Remember, you're up a pawn. All right, look at this tactic. Now you're attacking his queen. If he takes you, you go take him down there, and you got checkmate, folks. Unbelievable craziness here, right? Being displayed. All right, he's setting up a discovered check. Very dangerous. And what's the point? Why not castle opposed to going here? What happened on this? What happened? Who knows, right? Well, you're still up. You're up a piece, right, folks? I guess he's gonna pound your king side here. You're gonna move, right? Maybe he's gonna push this. That could get dangerous. You rip open the king side. You get your knight coming into f6. The white knight leaping f6, forking the king and queen. All right. So maybe there's attacking possibilities. I don't know. Maybe that's why you move. Why would you move here? Now you're moving into the. Curious. Where does this go anyway? I didn't even look at this. All right, he brings this guy up. Oh, look at that. You move the bishop back because he's on this diagonal. He comes back here and he steals the diagonal. Now he's hitting your rook. All right, that's why the queen went to d5. I see. So you could attack the pawn. Look at this. He sacks this. Got to take, right? You're forked. King and queen to take. Forked. You got to take. And then, I don't know. He's going to play queen to g3 check. I mean, what is this? What's he doing? Well, he's still eyeing your rook down there. Still eyeing your trade over here. He takes. Threatening your bishop. This is something else. All right, so then he moves. He goes after this guy. He can't move. Else the rook comes down, folks. Take this guy, of course. All right, he's going to get him. And now you bring out your knight. So the rook protects the back rank. So you got 2 minor pieces for the rook. And you got 6 pawns to 4. I don't know, folks. Actually, wait. Shredder likes it here. Okay, fine. I guess you're going to cement him on c5, right? You pull this up, see? Now you got supported outpost on c5 right here, folks. Can't get that knight out of there. No pawns could boot him out. He's only on the 4th rank, though, but that's pretty good. So he's strong. So I don't see what white gets here. No way. He's busted. Black takes control of that game. All right. So anyway. Of course, that's after this. You know, basically, Black's in the driver's seat after winning the bishop, right? So he can't do that. He's got to take. If you take here, he's got to take with this guy, right? All right, now the bishop checks, and look, once again, you busted the white queen side pawns, right? Double isolated c pawns. What do you want to do, Shredder? Right? Which is the best move? Well, anyway, you're up, let's see, 7 pawns to 6, and white has busted queenside pawns. Pretty ugly, right? He doesn't even, black has his 2 bishops, so nobody has the bishop pair advantage, right? So, you get white has nothing for these, for a pawn less and the busted pawns. Look at this now, you got g4 as an outpost. g4, folks, g4 is an outpost right there. All right, but anyway, let's go all the way back. Black's winning that. He's got the edge. He's got the edge. So, I mean, I don't know. When they're talking about, you know, departing from the McDonald's line, McDonald, not Ronald McDonald, folks, but the chess master McDonald back in the day, in a game with Labradonis. 7 castles and knight to c3 to follow. Again, doesn't explain if black does this, what happens. You know, this doesn't cut. Knight c3 is no good. We just looked at it. This is what we're talking about, right? Check, he goes over there. All right, he wants to block it. All right, block it. We castle. He goes after our pawn over there, right? I guess we let him have it because if we go here, the knight's pinned, and if we do the knight's pinned, so we don't even want to do that. We don't want to bring the bishop. What happens on this? Show me what happens. All right, he breaks the pin. There you go. Now he is attacking our bishop. And we got to, I guess we got to give the, see, that's no good. Now we give him the bishop here. And, folks, does he take this way? No, he fixes these pawns, see? He takes with the pawn. Now the pawns are better. They're not doubled up. Now he has the bishop here. Look at the valuation just dropped. I mean, we're still up a pawn, but, you know, he's got the bishop here, and he doesn't have pawn weaknesses like before. So it's really, oh, look at this. He would want to take, huh? You want to take like that? All right, what, he wants to get the queens off and then do it? All right, so the queens are gone. And now, like I said, he's got the bishop here. Black's got an extra pawn. White's got the bishop here, and he got rid of his weakness, those double C pawns. All right, so on castles, he goes after that guy. To the e4 pawn, right? He's going after the e4 pawn. We don't want to protect it, right? Let him take that back, I guess. He breaks the pin of the knight. He takes. Could take with the pawn, right? Fixes structure there. Maybe. I don't know. Still giving a +1 advantage to black, I guess, because he is up a pawn, right? Shredder likes it now, see? Sometimes you guide them and they evaluate deeper and they seem to like it. It would have found this anyway. I just helped it along. See, he likes to take him with the pawn now better. What does this leave it at? Right? Little better for black now. See the evaluation? You let this go a little bit too. It might come down. See, you take. He looks crazy, right? Same tactic as before, folks. If he takes, you win another pawn, and then you get your piece back. See that? See that? And you won. Look, at this point, he wants to trade queens, right? He comes back here because it is check, right? Would he go to F? Would he go to F1 after this? You want to go to H1? All right, maybe not. We take, and he blocks, right? Okay. He's going to win that E pawn otherwise, I guess. So we could, yeah, because what are we going to do? To save the E pawn, right, the E4 pawn, if we move, he could take it, right? See? He's backed up by the rook. If we trade, he needs time to recapture. He's attacking E4 again, but boom, there we go. We could save that pawn now with more pawn support, right? F5 is fine now. And that's a protected what, folks? A protected pass pawn in the endgame. Come on, White, let's trade rooks. I'm ready to go. And not to mention, you know, White lost another pawn in those exchanges. So now it's 7-5. Forget about it. Protected pass pawn on E4. You're up 2 pawns. Forget about it, right? I mean, this is how you chisel away, you know. You chisel away at your opponent. All right, anyway. So, what is this all about? It's the busted idea. I don't know what they're talking about with this McDonald and La Bordanis game. And your castle, and then knight c3. Well, if black takes here, you want to bring him out? No good. We just looked at it all. All right, what's this? What's this about? Attacking g7, your castle, that's where you want to go anyway. He develops this guy, I guess. You protect e4. He's attacking e4 with knight g3. You protect him. You got this, get him off this diagonal, right? Because we all see what's coming, right, folks? With the knight going back. Do you see the tactic once again, right? Let me develop my knight. Oops. There you go. Can't make basic developing moves. You can't go on autopilot, folks. You drop pieces. You see, you got to look at every move. All right, so he gets him out of that tactic. All right, fine. You develop. And look at this. He busts the pawns. No, you got the queen recapture. All right, he hits the bishop. You go back. All right, so what do we got to say here? Where are we right now at this point? Half a pawn up. Black's doing, you know. We got. Wait a minute here now. Wait, how did this? Oh yeah, he took the defender of the e pawn, the black e pawn, right? So he can win that, I guess. Knight takes e4. First he hit. Oh, because if he takes now, you're on this, right? All right, not an even trade. So first he plays c3, which gains a tempo on this guy, which will allow him to take here, but he decides to double up on it first. Does that give white time to play? Bishop f5? What's going on here? Let me see. What am I failing to see? Oh, yeah, but he's still got 2 on it. He's still got 2 on it. What am I thinking? I was thinking if he takes, then you take back and you protected it. But he's got 2 on it. All right, fine. And he even likes to go here, threatening to double the pawns here and pile up even more on that. Right? So anyway. All right, it's a game. Look, it's very close, very close. They give it to black by 0.11. 0.11th of a pawn, really? All right, it's an even game at this point. Anybody's game, who knows? Black is 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 7. Up a pawn, but e4 looks like it's going to fall, right? So let's go back. So, I mean, you know, this idea, castling, followed by knight c3 doesn't make sense, but maybe bishop b2 is a way to go. All right, so anyway, what did Augustus and Paul do here? What did they do? Well, it was move 7. He plays c3 first, okay? So Morphy moves the bishop to c5. Beautiful spot for it because now he's keeping the king from castling, controlling that diagonal. It's what happens when you throw up, you know, the f pawn. You play it as white. You play f4. Now this diagonal's totally open. He can't castle over there. So of course here comes, you know, c3 also supports d4, but Morphy has the e4 pawn, and he takes en passant, right? Queen takes back, and now Morphy castles. Okay, so now you got, look at this. Now that Morphy castles, the king rook is on f8. Augustus plays bishop to a3. Good move, because now he's forcing to trade it. This is one of black's best, if not the best piece right now, keeping white from castling. Beautiful diagonal, good scope, but he can't try to hold on to it over here or he loses the exchange, right? So he's pretty much forced to trade. Now, Morphy goes ahead and takes. But look at Shredder. Shredder's saying, no. Don't help develop your opponent's pieces, right? You remember, this bishop made some moves. He came over here. He took the pawn. Then he moved back. Now, b4 in the opening, you know, on move 3 was a pawn move. We'll do it from here. Let's just go all the way back, right? I want you to remember this. b4 was a pawn move, so black takes. He moves his bishop again, but it's not really losing time, so to speak, because b4 wasn't a developing move. Or maybe it is, because the bishop could come to b2. Now you don't have to play the d pawn. You don't have to play any more pawns to develop this guy. So it good kind of could be considered developing. It's helping to facilitate your developing, because you're going to have to move a d pawn or the b pawn to get this guy out, right? Okay, so strange, but you're giving up material, you're gambiting, you're giving that to black, but you can look at the line we looked at. Not knight c3, but bishop to b2 looks better. All right, but anyway, okay, black hasn't lost time yet, but when we get all the way over here, boom, 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 there it is. Okay, now another pawn move. Now black has to move this bishop again, but it was off of a pawn move. So has anyone really gained any time? Not really. Here comes d4, hitting the bishop, but Morphy doesn't move it. He takes en passant. Pawn capturing another, a pawn move answered by a pawn move, right? d4 answered by pawn takes pawn en passant. Did anyone gain any time? No. Did anyone lose time? No. Queen takes pawn. White develops the queen. And then black, right? That's what happened. Then black castled. So a developing move answered by a developing move, right? Now the bishop comes here. Now if he was to move this guy, right, he wins the exchange. But by taking, he's moving this guy again, right? From when he first developed, white only developed this guy once. One move for that guy. Look, okay, so he moves out. If he takes, and now the knight develops. So now, look, folks, look. 3 minor pieces for white developed, while only 1 for black. But black castled, which is a developing move. So it's 3-2. He still has to make a move. So, okay, he could go here, for instance. Shredder likes this. Shredder likes this one. Okay, that's not what he does. Okay. And this pins, look, he attacks this one. He moves, and then he's pinning this one. So he's kind of doing both things, and he has time to castle. He takes over here. Now if they trade down, oh, look at that again, folks. Okay, if he trade down here, you know, he doesn't lose, he doesn't have time. He doesn't have time to take over here. Now he hits him, I guess, right? But instead of moving, if he moves, then he gets this and he wins the exchange. See, he'll be up the exchange. But he doesn't move. He answers with his pawn attack. You take him, I take you, right? There you go. And what is it? What's going on? I don't even know at this point. I didn't even look at this. They got 5 pawns to 5 pawns. It's a game, folks. I don't know. What could I tell you? It's a game. He would want to trade. All right, fine. And right, what else is he going to do? We're hitting the bishop too, right? It's a fork. All right, so he takes, he develops, he takes. I don't know, folks. It looks drawish to me, right? Pretty much. Looks like a draw. All right, so anyway, here we go. So we're going all the way back, right? That was Shredder's idea. He likes this one. Pinning the knight on e2 and attacking the knight on a3. All right, this would be the answer. All right, but anyway, why take the bishop and help him develop, right? Why not play knight to d7? This is what Shredder sees. And then if he takes, big deal, you take back and you gain a tempo on that queen. All right, he develops the queen attacking the knight. But you support that knight where, folks? On c5, right? Where? What's c5 square? An outpost. An outpost for that knight. He's sitting pretty. Once you play b6, he's protected on the c5 square. No white pawn could boot him out. And now you're playing not only to protect the knight, you're ready to develop your bishop now. Maybe over here. Who knows, right? Who knows? There you go, baby. Pile up on d5. What's he going to do? He's going to pressure your knight, right? Now, he wants to mess up you. If you do it early, for instance, if you do it early, I don't know, you do this, right? They trade down over here, right? And now he busts him up. He busts him up, and there you go. See? Now, let's see. You got what do you got? 6 pawns to 5. But you got doubled C pawns. So it might not even mean anything in a king and pawn endgame. You know, it might not mean anything. White C pawn will stall those 2 all by its own, you know. There won't be, not the same as if the pawns are like this and white can make a pass pawn on the queen side. With them busted, he can't really make a pass pawn in any way. 3 against 2, get it? So, you don't rush it, folks. You don't rush it. So after knight to b3, you can see what he's trying to do. I guess, you know. All right, he'd like this move. Getting dangerous. You got a nice knight on e4. No white pawns could hit him out of there. And he's supported by his brother on f6. All right, he castles. Look at this. We're going for it now, see? All right, okay, here he goes, though. He's attacking. If we move the bishop, well, does it really do anything? I mean, we could even trade, right? Guess he gains a tempo on us in a way. We have to take him off of that nice square. So, all right, here we go. Let's see the tactics involved. Attack the queen with the pawn. He moves it back. Now you trade. Okay, whatever, right? And now what do we do? And now let's assess. We're up a pawn. Okay, we got the knight, the queen on e8, helping support that knight on e4. Good post. All right. So anyway, black's better. Look at that. The evaluation is black's up almost 2.5. All right, there you go. That could be a win right there. That could be enough. All right. So anyway, there's some advice by Shredder, right? Don't help him develop. Let him take you, right? Boom, boom, and you get the tempo. Take him back. You get a tempo on the queen, and the knight's fine on c5. There you go, right? b6 helps to develop the bishop to b7, and you're piling up on what, folks? On this guy, right? Falls into place. The plan falls into place. All right, but anyway, Morphy takes. Augustus takes back. And what do we do next? What do we do next here, right? Let me see, where are we? Yeah, knight takes bishop, and now we go after the knight over here. Now a rook to e8, and putting pressure on that pinned knight, right? Because even though he's got 2 on it, folks, he's got him and him, right? Let's just make a dumb move. I don't know. I'll just I can't really make a dumb move here. All right, here's one that's a total waste. If you go like this, right? Well, he could take right off the bat. I was going to say, you go here and you're piling up. Because even though he's got 2 on it, all right, he could back the queen off. That's true. And now when we take, he takes the bishop first, right? And he's good to go. He saves. He doesn't lose a piece. All right, but if we just go right for it right away, he can't take with the queen, because then you got the rook coming in and pinning that queen, right? Game over. So I guess, yeah, look at this. He'd have to take with him, but now he falls, folks. The knight on a3. Almost forgot. Look at this. Queen checks now, right? Can't take with him because of this guy, right? He can't take with him because queen check. And you pick up that guy over there, folks. Look at it. Undefended piece on a3. Okay? This is how it works. This is how you create your combinations, you see? Of course, I'm giving white a dumb move over here, but this is how it works. One wrong slip, and it's all it takes. Look at that. Queen to e7, and you're forking the king and winning the knight over there. Okay. Maybe this is something that, not that he'd expect Augustus to play a dumb move like g3 here, but, he's putting pressure on that knight. But Augustus knows to get out of danger right away. He castles, okay? He castles. And now Morphy takes the knight anyway. Why, folks? Because he redirects the queen off of the defense of this pawn, right? The bishop protects, the queen protects. But now he's pulled off. And sure enough, right, after queen takes, knight takes pawn, right? Now you're saying, holy smokes, you could pin it. I'm going to turn this engine off just to make sure you're not falling asleep. And what happens, folks, if knight, either one, rook, I should say, not knight. If rook to d1, or this rook to d1, pinning that knight, right, to the queen. You get knight takes pawn. Knight takes pawn. If he comes down here, big mistake, because you take his queen. With check, folks. Now you take back. Look what happened. You got the queens off the board. Lo and behold, you're up the exchange if you're black. See that? Plus, you're up 2 pawns, too. How do you like that? I mean, come on, folks, look. Look, it works the other way, too. It works with this one. You take here. You can't think. You got to always, you can't think you're pinning the guy. Definitely, because, you know, he doesn't want to lose his queen. You got to see where the pin piece could leap. Sometimes it could leap and give check. Sometimes it could leap and attack. You want to threaten to take your opponent's queen. Well, I'm threatening to take your queen. So it's not really pinned, folks. This is the difference between a pin and an absolute pin. An absolute pin is when you pin a piece to the king. By the rules of chess, you cannot move the piece that's pinned if it's pinned to the king, right? But to the queen, you got to watch those counter tactics, right? You got to watch. He's fighting fire with fire here. He's throwing tactics back at you. And you miss it. You lose the game. Now, obviously, if he moves the queen, well, you end up, what Shredder would just take the exchange, right? Here, there you go. You take the exchange. You're up. There you go. Plus, look, you develop with tempo on this guy. And, oh, no, you're not. The queen's here protecting him. All right, got to watch that. Across the rank. All right, there you go. So, you can't fall for that. All right? All right, very good. So, Morphy takes. He takes. Remember, this is all brought to you by this guy right here. Bishop takes, drawing the queen off d5. Now the knight captures. All right, after that, okay, you got me, right? Augustus moves the queen to f3, so white Morphy walks away with a pawn. Okay? So now you got another interesting thing. Morphy here plays c6, okay? But look at Shredder. He says, let's do this. I'll attack your bishop. And surprisingly, you'd say, well, yeah, the knight's protecting it, though, right? Okay? And now we'd like to move. You like to hang on to the bishop. And you move it here, I guess, right? It's different than what I saw before. Because if he comes, let's say he comes in like this, right? Well, your knight doesn't want to take here. Because remember, not only is he's got this too, right? So, all right, he take here first, and then all right, then you defend your rook over there, I guess. If he because if he takes here, well, now you won this one, and you won 2 minor pieces for the rook. Not a bad trade, right? Look at this. You fork over there, he comes over there. All right, here you go. You're back, right? So it's 5 white pawns to black's 4, but black has 2 knights for the rook. All right, interesting. You know, it's interesting. You got less than a pawn, half a pawn advantage. Really, it's nothing. So it's a game still, folks. It's a game. So maybe white can play that way. But that's if he takes the bishop, right? He doesn't have to take the bishop. The knight on b6, remember, he's protecting the rook right now. So you could go here attacking the knight. All right, he swings up over here. You got the check still in the position, folks. Remember that guy, that one? There you go. You grab the bishop. He comes in. He wins a pawn on c7. All right, you develop the other guy, protected by the queen. And now he does win this guy. He wins the exchange, but okay, you take here. And there you go. Once again, in a different, turn of events here, a different order, you actually end up with 2 knights for the rook again. And it's 4 pawns to 5 again. How about that? So, I mean, this is a game. Now, in this position, in a way, this is, I guess maybe because white's pressure in c3. But that wouldn't really make sense because then he'll lose the knight on c6. For instance, if you go here, all right, whatever, he goes here, right? Well, now he's threatening mate, right? Because what could I do? Let's say I take that pawn, right? First of all, he goes here. This is what I was seeing. You're going to lose the knight. You're going to lose this knight if you take that c3 pawn with a rook to c1, skewering the queen. He wins this, right? And he can't. Oh, okay. He can't take here and then go for mate because one, the queen and the knight protect, right? Now, if he goes here, he's threatening mate, but black has a move. All right. So anyway, So even just on this, you win the knight. It's game over for black. All right, so you can't just grab that c pawn. After this, that c pawn's not really hanging. So we would go there. You make a hole for the black king. All right, goes after your knight. Look at this. You go after his rook, threatening mate. All right, he doubles him up. And now with the knight on b6 again, protecting this rook. There you go, right? So, and there's no backward, there's no back rank mate there, because black had got in, moved the h pawn up, right? He's got the hole now, right there, and it's game over for white. All right, so anyway, let me just see something too in the craziness of this. Right, he goes down and check, you take, yeah, there you go. All right, so anyway, black would be winning that. And all right, so after this, he comes down here, and what did he attacks this guy. He doubles him up. Plays this. All right. Wow, counter attack, because there could be a possible rook down. Say he goes here, right? That doesn't do anything. We got it covered. We got everything covered. The rook coming down. We could maybe give back rank mate down the line, but he plays h3 just in case. All right. So anyhow, and here we go. This is why rook to e8. Now to get rid of this guy, get him out of there. All right. Now the e pawn's a little weak. He isolated it. So it's a fight, but they're saying black's a little better here. Who knows, right? But let's go all the way back. We're talking about after queen to f3, knight coming here. All right, but look, Morphy plays c3. It's c6, I should say. Excuse me, c6, and Augustus plays his queen rook to b1, attacking b7. Right. All right. Shredder likes to do this now. Now the queen can't even come in over here. Right. He can't even come in. All right, because he's attacking the white rook, putting pressure on b7, right? Now Morphy doesn't play this guy. He plays the queen here, attacking the knight on a3. We've seen different lines with that already, right? Attack the unprotected piece. But here's a note from the old masters. There should be a win for black by queen to a4, a5, queen to a5 here. Augustus' intention seems to have been bishop takes knight, but after queen takes knight, how is he to regain his lost pawn? For instance, if this, okay, hitting the queen, and if he takes back, the bishop's under the gun. He takes back, though, with the bishop, see? And all's good, right? But he's still down a pawn, but now, I don't know. With down a pawn, look at the evaluation. It's close, folks. Pawns are on both sides. White has the bishop, you know. In an endgame, it's a little better than the knight, but is it worth a pawn? Who knows? Looks like a draw to me. And, you know, that's the whole thing by playing this. So if once he moves, they say, how does he regain his pawn? And they conclude, if c4, queen to a6, right? Now he moves here. And it still keeps the question, all right, whatever, let's follow a little further. He goes there, right? Because right here, if he takes this, white takes down there, and now he's got a rook to the 7th. And it could get dangerous. Now, look, you want to develop your knight. You got to develop your knight, right? But now he wins this one. And all of a sudden, he just won two. You traded pawns, but he just picked up a pawn. So now it's even Steven. And again, it's knight versus bishop, and you still got the a pawns. You got pawns on both sides of the board. I don't know. The bishop looks better to me. There's no good outpost for the knight at this point. You know, he could maybe play. If he plays this and puts the knight in e4, it's a light square. The bishop could trade it off. Plus, you're opening the light square diagonal. The a2 G8 light square diagonal. This one, I mean, God help us, look, right away. I mean, we can't do it right away. I'm just saying. You lose the queen, right? You're forked by a rare bishop fork. Beautiful stuff. But this is the point. The knight's no good against the bishop. The white all of a sudden is not only back in it, I think he's winning. What's the evaluation on this? All right, they give it like it's a draw. Who knows? But I think it's easier to play with the bishop. All right, so anyway, you can't let him come right in. This is nonsense. After this, they're giving queen to a6. No good. No good. He has time to save. Yes, black's up a pawn, but big deal. Again, big deal. What are we talking about here? Right? He could get the knight out. Queen to a6 is to protect this one, right? b7. So, I don't know, folks. At this point, I don't know. I don't, yes, black is up a pawn, but is that enough for a win? I mean, maybe. But here you go. Look at this move. Right, over here now. I'm over here now. Go there, right? You get the check. And now, if he goes here, let's see how this turns out. I'm not sure. I can't remember. If he goes, all right, he wants to take back with the king. I do not know why, but here we go. You take there, and he takes back. And I guess because if he takes down here, you could win this one, right? He goes after it. Okay, he's going to get that c pawn back. But folks, what happened to White's bishop? White lost the bishop, right? I almost missed it. I mean, come on. What are we talking about? I almost forgot that. Black wins the piece. I'm looking at the pawns. I'm trying to figure out, because in the notes, folks, it says queen a6, and how's White to regain his pawn. So I'm so fixated on the pawns. But Shredder shows it right here. You do this, right? You lose the bishop. You lose the bishop. For what, folks? For a pawn? No, the pawns are even now, right? Look at it. 5-5. Now, he's got to pass D pawn. I don't know if he can make anything of that, right? We blockade it, maybe. Because if we move him, right now, we want to bring our knight out, but he's going to throw the rook right there if we do, once we move our knight, right? He's going to double up on the c file, I guess, right? He's got to watch his own back rank, maybe, so he moves there. All right, look, we develop him. Where does he go, folks? Right away, being a real troublemaker. Of course, the rook's going to boot this guy back. And that pawn's going to want to come up. All right, so anyway, look at black. Look at the evaluation. It's just a matter of time, I guess, right? They're going to have to trade off. Trade them off. All right, take with the queen. He backs that guy up. You give the check now. Give another check. Knight comes in. Protecting. I mean, he could play this, right? He's got the rook backing it up. No, wait. Can he do that? Hold on. He goes here, we take it, he takes, and we got an attack coming up. Oh, forget it. Forget it. Look at this. Look, folks. Look at that. Oh, he's got a back rank mate too. We got to watch, but look, we could take the queen with check. So now we make a hole for our king. He doesn't have back rank mate either. So there we go, right? It's all over. It's all over. We win that one, see? All right, one way it could go, right? I mean, black has the knight. We have the minor piece. He's got a pawn. All right, he doesn't. The pawns are even. He's got a pass pawn, which could put a little pressure, but it looks like black could handle it. All right, so anyway. So he loses outright. He loses. He's dead to rights here. Look, black has him dead to rights with the queen check. Okay, so no good. No good. They're saying queen here was the win, but they didn't follow through correctly because of this. Not queen to a6, queen check on c5, and then you take the bishop and you're up. All right, there you go. Little accuracy there. So, what does Morphy do though? He plays queen to e7. Okay, putting pressure on the unprotected knight on a3. So Augustus takes the knight, and Morphy takes back. But you could see Shredder going for the... At this point, I mean, maybe you let the engine run, it'll take the bishop also. Let's just look at this. Queen takes, he pulls back, he saves his piece, right? And now you got, you could grab this, but he does this, threatening this one. You want to save him, for instance, right? And then he comes down and he takes on b7, right? And lo and behold, you know, he's got an attack brewing, folks. He's got the... I mean, not for nothing. You got to get this guy out, right? You can't go here, obviously. If you come here, well, now this one even falls, right? Am I mistaken about this? Well, okay, he gets the fork. So look at this. So what does he do? What's he saying to do? All right, he comes down here. He adds more pressure to this, I guess. And now there's no knight c5. He can't even go there. So the queen comes here maybe to support the knight. And he wins. Okay, he gets the pawn, right, folks? He wins that pawn. Although, look at the evaluation. It's basically even at this point. Basically even. White does have the bishop in the endgame, though, with the pawns. At this point, there's a queenside pawn. They're on both queenside pawn and 3 kingside pawns. So they're on both sides. Will the bishop be better? I don't know. But, you know, who knows? Look at it. It's plus 0.03, right? It's anybody's game at that point. Maybe it ends in a draw. But you can't grab pawns. Look at this. You can't grab pawns, folks. And let the opponent just take back. And setting up a rook on the 7th. Come on. Look at this. This goes again. You can't develop this guy. Now this one, only the knight protects it. When you develop it, you're going to have to, right? I mean, this is no good. It's just no good. It's ugly, right? You don't want to take the A pawn. You come back like in the other line, I don't really know. Oh, well, look at this. Then he could attack you with the bishop. You end up pushing this pawn anyway. And look at this. Now the battery goes the other way. Look, the queen leads. So now she's going to threaten mate on h7. All right, you go here. Going to try to bust up those pawns. You know, all right. So where are we at this point? It's anybody's game. It's, you know, less than a pawn for black. I don't even... Look at it now. 0.07. Do you really see any kind of advantage? I don't see it. I mean, matter of fact, black still hasn't got his knight out. He's got to get that knight into the game. He's behind, you know. So anyway, all right, look. At this point, he says to push here. And this kind of ends up with the same kind of evaluation. I mean, half a pawn advantage for black. I mean, he is up a pawn on the queen side. Oh, well, look at this now. Wait, look at this. You hit this one, right? You take, and then he wins this. So he just won the pawn back, right? All right, you take this one, so now you're up again. He takes control, so the knight can't develop, right? The knight can't develop, folks. Wait, where is it? She's right there. This was a good move, right? You keep the knight from getting out. The bishop and the queen controlling the knight squares. The knight could leap, I guess, here for now. I don't know. Maybe not. B5's hanging. All right. So anyway, yeah, it likes that move now. Yeah, it's the best one. So there you go. It's less than a pawn advantage, right? It's a game, and I mean, black is up a pawn. And I'm seeing this one as a pass pawn, right? Going in, maybe. White's threatening the black b5 pawn. Knight has to get developed at some point. If he takes here, I take there, threatening the rook, right? So I don't know. So he doesn't take on b5. He threatens h7, like in the other line. All right, he starts chiseling away at the black king side. So he's down a pawn, but he's going for the attack, I guess. It's a check by black. Right, it's a game. I don't know. I mean, the evaluation, half a pawn or so, third of a pawn, really, does it mean anything? All I'm curious, though, is that A-pawn. Can that A-pawn actually make it, folks? It looks like it could be worth more than what this evaluation is saying. We're making the moves quick. You got to get that knight in the game, though. I don't get this. You got to get the knight in the game. He's threatening to take. Look, if you start marching, he's threatening to take, and now you got the queen and rook down the F-file, attacking F7. Right? We're in trouble now. Now you're in trouble. Look at the evaluation after that move. Plus 2.5, right? So the attack is going to win out over that pawn if you make a dumb move like A4. So it's really close. The scales are really not tipping one way or the other. It's whoever makes a dumb mistake. Again, if you're an amateur, if you're under 2,000, this is why studying openings is really not the best way to study chess. You got to study these end games and the attacks in the middle game, because so many mistakes are made during these, the middle game and the ending, that it pays dividends to study tactics and combinations. And already goes here. Look at this. It's some game. I mean, look at it. It's still at a half a pawn for black, right? All right, are they going to trade them off? There they go. All right, he's got that passed pawn on the B file. The bishop covers B3. Here we go. What can we do? He's got those light squares. Good post for the bishop. I don't know. I'm very curious where this goes, folks. I can't stop. It's white's attack against black's pawn coming down. Look at this. He's trying to threaten. Okay, he gives up this guy. Gets the king over here. He's buying time. Can the black king get a tempo? Can he go to safety without giving white a check? Because his rook is hanging over there already, protects it. It's a seesaw battle now, right? Here comes the queen. If the bishop runs, look at that. The white queen is on the wrong color, folks. It's on the wrong color. Can't get back to defend in any way at this position, right? If the bishop just moves to safety, right? Let's say there, well, it's going to lead to mates, and he has to go back to block, and there you go, right? So that bishop is toast if he wants to save the game. Look at this, a check move. A check move. This is crazy, huh? All right, now if he takes, what happens, right? He gets, yes, the check. I'm not even seeing that. I'm looking at the light squares. White can't check on the light squares, right? That's what I was looking at. The bishop can, but it just is a sacrifice. And obviously he gets that. Okay, so let's see. This is what Shredder says. This is better. Tuck him on G5. There still aren't any checks for the white queen. He's got to move. Okay, only move. He takes with check. He takes with check, folks. I don't know. You got 3 pawns for the bishop, and that B pawn is so crucial. It's the one, folks. All right, he puts a check, so he protects B4. He stops the white queen from taking on B4. But now, okay, the checks continue. Interesting. You got to admit, right, folks, he's going to grab the H pawn now, too, and give up his B pawn? I don't like that. Right? Why would he give up the B pawn? All right, let's see what happens. Let's see what he's thinking. I don't know. Look, he doesn't even take it. Why not? He goes for check first, obviously. Because, let's see, if he goes down, he gets checked, and is this perpetual? Is that what he's going for there? that the idea? If you move this, then it opens the door for all these. You could reposition and everything. So I don't think that would be good, right? It looks like it's probably perpetual check here, then nonetheless, right? Because if he goes here, look, folks, what happens? Tactics in the end game, they still apply, folks. Look out, right? Okay. So he can't push the pawn. If he goes here, he's basically handing a perpetual to white, right? So he's got a block. Now, if white trades queens, there's no winning chances for white if white trades queens, because white can't checkmate black with just the bishop and king alone. So it throws all the winning chances into black's hands, right? Because he's got those 4 pawns that could queen. One could queen, and the next thing you know, goodbye, game over, right? So he doesn't want to trade. He's going to harass this guy, I guess, right? I see what he can't go here because then he loses this, right? So he's going to go down. Oh, he loses it anyway. All right. Doesn't matter then. All right, so he lost that one. So, Shredder probably saw all this way back and sees that it's going to be 3 pawns against 3 pawns. But still, look, my question, look, we got all this way. It's 3 pawns against the piece, right? If white trade, look, he wants to trade now. Okay, and then he doesn't. But let's say if he trades, let's leave it at this, right? If they end up trading, maybe black could force the trade of queens off. Now it's only it's only black with the winning chances. Okay, again, the pawns could queen. White can't checkmate black with just the bishop. So, I don't know, right? Look at the evaluation. I guess the bishop is capable of, the bishop and white king could eventually blockade these pawns and stop them from queening. Once they go, just to let you know, once they go on like this, the black squares, for instance, if they ever go like this, the bishop, boom, there it is. And the king comes up, right? The black king tries to come up to support a pawn push, but then all of a sudden the white queen combines with the light square bishop on the light squares, and it's a light square blockade because there's nothing black could do. He can't get him to move forward. So black would be trying to prevent that. According to the engine after they trade, I don't think it's possible. I guess white could force that scenario. Light square blockade, See what happens. We went this far, right? Do it quick. He's going after that one. Once the pawns get on all the dark squares, a light square blockade could occur. All right, he's got to sacrifice this one, I guess. Can he bring the king up? Does it even matter? Bring the king up first. Right, if he goes here, he buys time. Once you do this, though, now you give light square blockade like this. See, bishop. Just to go there. Why not this one? He wins the other one. All right. Well, if he takes this one's coming in. But bam, look. And now he's on this, right? The whole time he takes this one, whether you go in or whatever you're going to try to do. He sacks the bishop. There it is, draw, right? Oh, he doesn't sack. Forgive me. If he goes here to support it first, right? Then he sacks it. I'm getting ahead of myself, right? Or I'm behind myself, whatever I'm doing. I don't even know at this point. But we took this one all the way deep. Again, the patterns, the ideas I'm sharing with you. You see how it could turn out? All right, you know, a lot of game left, a lot of who knows. It could have went dozens of different ways, right? Hundreds of different ways. Some good pointers in there, you know. This was the attack versus the pass pawn, right? Black had the pass B pawn, white had the attack. So, all right. Eventually, it was the pawns versus the minor piece, right? All right. So anyway, it's one way it could go, man. I'll tell you, I got sucked into that one, all on this idea of B5, right? Okay. So anyway, right? This is not even the line. Morphy didn't take the knight, right? He didn't even take that knight. He ended up taking the bishop, okay? So now, obviously, you're saying, well, you could take there, yeah, but the knight's still hanging, right? We got to dummy up. So you might be asking yourself that. So anyway, you got to wake up, and you got to move the knight, right? Now, wait a minute. Yeah, that's where, let's see. After bishop takes pawn. Oh, no, he doesn't go there. That's Shredder's idea. All right, and we could get into a whole different scenario with this one, right? He would protect his pawn. He would attack the queen, and yada, yada, yada. You got a game. You know, you still got a game. It's less than a pawn. Who knows where it goes, right? We could delve deep into that one, too. But basically, all right. You got Augustus pushing the pawn. Exclamation point! All right, exclamation point. C4. Okay? Protecting the knight along the third rank. The queen on F3 protects the knight. All right. Morphy goes ahead and takes the pawn. Now, you see, Shredder likes this move. And then after this, well, all right, the knight comes up to B4. He pushes this guy. You see, white's starting to push F6, right, just to be dumb. I'll throw that up to, he's going to hit this, and, you know, if he takes it, then he loses the knight, right? After this, he loses the knight over there, right? Okay. If he moves to, he's got a check, though, actually, so he's got the check. All right, but then, you know, it looks like, white's going to open this up, bust up the black king side, you know. Not good at all. Look at this. He's going to move. He can bring a rook lift, maybe. It gets dangerous. Looks dangerous to me. But white has a pretty good plus there. But obviously, that's the stupid move. Just to show you, I threw up H6, right? So that's the idea of this one. F5 to push F6. He protects the knight. Now he pushes there. He takes. He's going to bust up the king side, but at least the queens are off the board though now. All right, so he moves this one up. All right, move here. We attack that guy. He's got a passed D pawn. Black wins him. He wins him. All right, so who knows? It looks like it's turning out like they're trading down to a draw. All right, we're doing it fast. Who knows, right? Different game. Seems like it's close. All right, so anyway, you know, Morphy takes the pawn. Now you can see this opens the diagonal. Opens the diagonal right up, and the rook takes on B7 if I'm not mistaken, right? After pawn takes pawn, rook takes pawn, tempo on the queen, and yes, Shredder likes to check here. Okay, but look at this. He throws the knight up to D7. He puts the knight in a pin, right? Pin to the queen on E7. But it's not really a pin. Here's the principle. Pile up on the pin, right? Pile up on the pin piece. But again, like we said earlier, the queen could get out of it, you know. Queen to C5 check, even if he goes here. All right. You could trade and then move your knight, I guess. But then your C pawn falls, right? You save him, but then, you know, you lose this guy, I guess. Right, or he likes this first. You go here, he takes, you take, now he takes. All right, and see, you lose your C pawn. So, I guess that's why Shredder just says, take the knight, and he takes the knight. You still got your C pawn, which he wants to push at this point. But, you notice White has rooks on the 7th, folks. 2 rooks on the 7th. Dangerous. Hogs on the 7th because they end up eating up everything in your position. All right, now, Shredder feels it's worth it, I guess. You got that extra C pawn. Maybe you could defensively, you know, trade a rook off, and it's not so dangerous. 2 rooks on the 7th. Could be trouble. If this F pawn wasn't there, folks, and the queen was beaming down on F7, along with those rooks, oh, look out. But anyway, it's not to be because all this is moot, right? Because Augustus doesn't go after the knight. He doesn't try to pin it, or does he? Wait a minute, does he? Let's see, what does he do? After that, you got king to rook 1. Well, he tries to get the king out of that check, right? So now there is a threat of rook. Look at that. Right away. Look at the machine's reaction. Look at this. Boom. Rook over to D1, the knight's pinned, right? Pile up on the pin piece now. That's the game. Right? That's what you do. It still looks like not much of an edge. So I guess Black's not going to really, maybe he won't lose it. Maybe he'll lose position. No, look at this. He loses the C pawn. All right, you get the queen out of the pin by attacking that one. So now he can move the knight next, I guess. All right, there it is. He moves the knight. Okay, so he doesn't lose it. Look at this. Look at this. He's if he let's see, where does he goes here? They trade. The knight takes back, right? And there you go. Centralized knight. But all right, they're training him down. Who knows at this point, right? The pawns are even, but White does have the passed A pawn over there. But you know, feels drawish to me. So anyway, you go back. This is the idea of what you know, Augustus is figuring. Well, let's see what happens. I'll move the king over so he doesn't have that check on C5, right? Well, now anyway, king rook over here. You see the trap that this sets, folks? Let's pile up on the pin piece. Let's see what happens. You see? You see how you lose? Look, queen comes right down. Now, if he takes, it's going to be checkmate, right? Okay. Game over. But if he plays this, well, now you take there. He takes back, and your knight could jump to B6, which now protects your C6 pawn. I mean your C4 pawn. He piles up. All right, I guess you're going to give that one back. You're going to go for what, the A2 pawn? Oh wait, actually, look, folks, you can't. You can mate. If he tries to take your knight, boom, you got the back rank mate still. And he is aiming. He's on the 7th. That's usually the goal of the rook. Control the file, right? Get your rook to the open file. Then you want to penetrate into the enemy position, usually on the 7th rank, you know, their 2nd rank. And then you wreak havoc with the pawns that are sitting, you know, where they haven't moved yet. So, not to mention you got the threat, you know, he can't take here. We just showed it. Knight takes, rook takes, and then back rank mate, right? So he has to make a hole. So there you go. And now you got black up about, you know, it's over 1, or maybe 1.5. You know, could be a win here. But anyway, there you go. That's what happens if you throw after this move, rook to E8. Morphy's trying. He's trying to set positions. Look, it's naturally that the rook comes to the open file. All right, now black controls the E file. No doubt about it, right? All right, so what happens after that? Well, he takes the pawn. Okay, he's got the moment. He could take the pawn. But now he attacks the knight. The knight goes in. Okay, now knight takes knight. Pawn takes. Now, does he want to take this one, folks? Come on, we got to dummy up. He takes there, forces him in this way. I guess he wins this pawn too, because if you take here, well, now you just took the rook off, backing up this brother over here. If he goes off the back rank, now it's a back rank mate, because rook takes rook, and it's over. It's not enough. This guy on a7, he can't retake. He can't capture that white rook now. It's mate, right? He came up to take this rook, and it's over. All right, so he wins this pawn, okay, and now he's up a pawn, past a pawn over there. You swap them down. Look at this. You swap them down. I don't know. Maybe tough, but in the hands of a grandmaster, maybe they could do it. But really, you can't just, the point is you can't take e5, right? Morphy knows better. He sees it a mile away. Of course, he knows, right? So, let's see, pawn takes knight, and you got rook to f8. He's protecting this guy because, like I said earlier, see, now it is an open f-file, folks. You got the queen and rook beaming down. You got the rook on the 7th. Coming from this direction, dangerous, right? They're all piling up on f7 now. So after rook to f8 to protect f7, all right, the queen goes over here to protect that pawn, I guess, on a2, and Morphy takes back. Okay, queen rook here. Right, let's trade or whatever. Okay, well, instead of the trade, he takes this pawn. Morphy takes that one. And there it was. It was abandoned as a draw, folks. There it is. Game 1 between Augustus Margredian and Paul Morphy. A draw, game 1. That concludes game 1. All right, we'll see the fireworks that's coming up, folks. Okay? Interesting game, but this one ends in a draw. Okay, so we'll see you in game number 61 in the book. Second match game, folks, between these two. All right, until then, have a good night.